What's the reason?
Koala Bear Gang. I wanted to bring that up because I keep hearing a lot of things on the horizon, and like a One
Yeah.
Piece live
Well, I was
Like a
just gonna
One
say
Piece,
that.
a
Yeah.
One Piece Netflix, you
One
say?
Piece live action.
He didn't say Netflix.
confirmed.
The first images from the last Airbender live action just came out the
Some
other
part-
Oh, they're
day.
following through even without the main guys. Because I'm not
Oh, yeah.
interested now. I'm not interested now.
I don't know.
Not
I'd give it a
without the.
chance without theirs guys, but what was I gonna
We
say?
have already though.
we
I have already.
we got
No, I actually do think it will deliver because of the
we'll see.
mistakes of the past. Hopefully,
we can talk about that in the thing, but then of course we got a Disney one, out in theaters right now. So yeah, a lot to say about all
what's
that.
the Disney one?
Little Mermaid.
Oh, it's out.
Well, more specifically,
it's out.
We know that they're gonna keep obliterating their classics, but the thing about I'm more concerned about what we're seeing here right now. We're playing the One Piece trailer, which is just been confirmed. It's actually.
Am I gonna be lost here? I've only seen like.
Watch it. I don't care about One Piece enough.
Yeah, I don't
this
either.
Is a big step into the world of what I've been talking about. Has been on the horizon.
That
The
looks like
anime is up
Positano,
next.
Italy.
That they see
like...
the success of comic books, they're seeing the success of video games, and now they're going to start touching on anime. My real question was, which ones are going to work? I don't think...
But they always do this. They always do this overseas, and it's always really shite.
Well, here, let's pause real quick, because...
JoJo.
They've done a JoJo?
Mob Psycho.
I didn't know that.
Everything.
A lot of the ones from Japan look
Bleach.
like fan films, for sure. Here's the thing. So far, the track record of doing live-action anime in general has been pretty bad, because I think if you want to go back to the Dragon Ball Z movie everyone hated, you got the Netflix adaptation of Death Note. People weren't happy with that.
Yeah.
You had... Cowboy Bebop more recently, which
they changed the story. Why do they do this?
Well, and it's just
so soft.
Cowboy Bebop really didn't need one. Cowboy Bebop is a very accessible show. Like it really is. Like I'm not a big anime guy.
It is a gateway anime. It really is.
I'm not gonna cut your point off. I'll let you finish.
No. I was just gonna say, yeah, that one felt really unnecessary because Cowboy Bebop is very accessible. Like even if you're not an anime person, it's very watchable. I admit. I don't have much of a relationship to One Piece. It seems very ambitious. It's very cartoony.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
Something about One Piece. It seems nothing about like the way it's designed. The story seems like it's asking for a live action. It's so exaggerated and cartoony. Personally, I find the show almost unwatchable. I don't mean that like I think it's bad, but it is.
It's very unwatchable.
Every time I see it clipped, someone is screaming.
Very
like it's really like in your face. I don't understand how like an adult
from the worst version of '90s anime since its iteration. Somehow still the longest running anime ever. Yeah.
It's a drawing style to me that I think it looks good in manga form.
Yeah.
But in the show, and again the voices and. There's some very cool fan art. I will say that. A lot of artists I follow draw awesome One Piece fan art. I won't watch it, but it looks great. And I will say, looking at this, it does look about as good as what this could look like. You got the crazy visuals like that.
Well, see, this is why I wanted to bring this up, because I feel like...
The fisheye.
This is what's going to happen. Yeah. They're going to keep doing things that are popular, like this, and Demon Slayer, and My Hero. But those are not the animes you can make into good live actions. They messed up Cowboy Bebop, which actually is a great one that you can do if you
it could have been done.
You cared about what was going on and like actually treated seriously rather than trying to make it whatever they try to make it. Like, if they kept it more bebop style, kind of like noir style like it is, It would have been a sick adaptation. Death Note the same way, but they wanted to change it completely up, give it all these twists and turns. And now they want to invest in these, like you said, it's too cartoony, he's stretchy, the action is only good in animated form. And I'm afraid that they're going to keep doing this, lose a lot of money. Like, that looks terrible. That looks like a glitch.
It's hard to make that stuff. Here's the thing with stuff like that.
Well, hold
it's
on.
hard to make.
Just real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
I'm just gonna finish real quick. It's gonna be so cartoony
please,
and bad looking that they're gonna think that it can't be done, and then they're gonna waste how great anime can be if it's adapted to.
Right.
My bad.
Well, all I'm gonna say is that, like, look, if you're gonna do the crazy stuff, the live action Cowboy Bebop tried to do this a little bit, but then again, I don't think it was fitting for Cowboy Bebop because it's not like when you look at a movie like Scott Pilgrim, that is, or like a Wes Anderson movie. Those are things that lean into like the fakeness, or even like, even though I don't really like it personally, a lot of people like the Wachowski's Speed Racer movie because it just says, like, we're not going to go for any type of realism at all. We are going to embrace how freaky and crazy and colorful this is. And they just lean into it. This looks like it's kind of doing both because, like you said, like, I just don't understand how you could make a One Piece work in live action.
You'd have to take the
otherwise
themes in a whole other direction. The ambiance, you know. It's too whimsical. Something with live action tends to be more dark, which is why something like Death Note should work, but it doesn't.
Right.
Well, it would have if they would have never tried to like make it like Light Turner, put it in America, get social media like involved. Like, that's not what the anime.
It's the arrogance to change the...
Exactly. Like, they're like, oh, millions of people love it the way it is and has for generations of anime watchers, but they won't, for some reason, like that story in live action unless we jazz it up. And I'm like, why do you think that?
Well, and that brings up the other question, too, when you said, like, setting it in America, like Light Turner. Like, one thing that always, I'm sure, has to cross the minds of these people when they adapt the animes is how much do you Americanize, especially in this era of, like, more DEI Hollywood stuff, you know, diversity, equity. Like, you don't want to do the thing where it's like, well, Dragon Ball Z, but everyone's just, like, looks like a white kid from the suburbs. But at the same time, it is tricky with certain ones because certain animes feel explicitly Asian. Like, from the episodes I've seen of Death Note, for example. Death Note, can it work in most modern society? Sure, but a lot of it, like, the culture of it does feel more like Japan. And then you got ones like My Hero Academia, which are explicitly set in Japan, yet a lot of characters are drawn basically as Caucasian. Right. You know, some characters, like, I know they all have the Japanese names and whatnot, and it's hair dye, but, like, somebody like Deku with freckles and curly hair, or All Might, who is, you know, 6'5" with blonde hair and blue eyes, you know. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. You know, even stuff like Attack on Titan could be interpreted one way or the other because Attack on Titan or Full Metal Alchemist have kind of a European aesthetic.
For me, strictly German with both of those. I feel like it's a German aesthetic. That's the vibe I've always gotten.
Exactly, like specifically Northern Europe, where then you got stuff kind of like Lupin the Third or a lot of the Studio Ghibli stuff that's sort of in like a Europe-Japan hybrid. Yeah. It's like it's out of time, it's out of place, you know.
I would almost say with Cowboy Bebop, Russian.
Yeah.
Really? Well, Russian. Yeah, you're right.
It's cold
gritty,
the whole time.
Post-Soviet,
Yeah, post-Soviet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
know what you mean.
Yeah. But see,
well,
it's just how you handle those properties. Like, I feel Full Metal
North
Alchemist
Asia,
would be
I guess.
great, just because I always think, like, the biggest problem with what can be a realistic anime adaptation, a live-action anime adaptation, is the action or what's going on in the anime. Now, Full Metal Alchemist is very hand-to-hand or gunplay, and you can do that very well in real life. Same thing with Cowboy Bebop, should have been done well. Samurai Champloo, a few of the other ones you said would be great. live action, but I'm afraid that these One Piece, and they're going to go for the ones that are like, well, millions of people watch this season every year, so let's adapt this one so we know we'll get our money back. And it's
the most popular anime in Japan.
Right. In the world, I think. I think it's the best-selling manga in the world because it's been running so long and so many copies have been sold.
Yeah.
So, like, they look at those numbers, and then they're going to do this, and it's going to be garbage, and then they're going to think, well, no one wants to watch anime movies then, and that's not the case. You just have to do it right. So, I don't know. Same thing with video games. Like, I feel like the Super Mario movie was good enough, but I hear there's inklings of a Legend of Zelda movie, and if they kind of, like, have fun and make it, like, oh, it's an action comedy type vibe with Legend of Zelda, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want that. Yeah, because Mario has a wide sandbox.
No, that's
for
not
you.
anime.
You know, Mario.
We're moving on to anime, though.
Well, I've said anime.
Well, the Witcher. Yeah, I was going to say the Witcher show. Now
still subbed.
I don't know the. I liked some of the second season, but I think I'm not too familiar with the games though with the Witcher, but. The Witcher shouldn't be a hard sell. It's different because Witcher is like Netflix saying, hey, we want our own like Game of Thrones type thing. We want our own high fantasy, expensive. You know, I get that. With Mario has to be a cartoon.
Exactly.
You know, Mario is... And Zelda...
They tried it.
Here's the thing. Not only do I think Zelda live action wouldn't work, I don't even know if I want a Zelda movie at all, to be honest. Because... part of the thing, so I just got Tears of the Kingdom this weekend, finally. And one of the things I think is cool about each new Zelda game is that, one, Zelda's not cutscene heavy. They really aren't story heavy games. They're not like the other AAA titles where there's a lot of like quick time events and cutscenes, but there are some really cinematic moments in these new ones now. So, slight spoiler for Tears of the Kingdom, it's just the opening scene. I'm not far in it at all.
Oh, God.
But the opening scene is very cinematic, and you're playing through it. You're just Link and Zelda. You're in these tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen Hyrule Castle, right after the events of the end of Breath of the Wild, and you got this creepy music playing. She's saying dialogue that's gonna, she's foreshadowing Ganon's return, and we're getting exposition delivered in a cool way. Like, that's part of the experience of playing.
Yes. Playing, too. Not just, watching the story, but getting to more immersive, I would say. Either way it goes, the Mario games, the Zelda games, they're the definitive way to play those. The line gets so much blurrier with manga versus anime, doesn't it? I think. Because, because, I mean, Dom as an illustrator, you've got these hand-drawn, just, this is how they made it originally. Is this the way it's meant to be, or is it meant to be fluid movement, which looks a lot more polished in some cases? We've had that Koala Bear gang.
Right. Well, I think it's some anime is like one-to-one with manga, like people say. Again, I don't know too much about this world, and what people choose to adapt to is always telling, because often I think it is redundant sometimes. Like we mentioned before briefly, like Disney doing theirs. With Disney, I think, Disney knows it's safe, it's our brand. Like, these are the proven things that people associate with Disney. They will show up for them. And I'm not, even though, I am passionate about animation, I'm not overly cynical about everything live action. Like, I think, don't harass the actors. Talented people do work on them. I do think they are kind of cynical projects, but like, okay, like the new Little Mermaid, like don't hate on the actress. Don't do stuff like that. Don't be.
That a lot. It's too late. It's way too late.
Leave Awkwafina alone.
Unfortunately. Awkwafina's in it?
Doing her thing. She's the seagull. Yeah.
Who's Ursula? Can somebody tell me who Ursula is? Oh, here we go! Here we go, baby! Get me to a theater. No. She's all right. She's fine.
They make a lot of... Exactly. They make a lot of money. I mean... Yeah.
Oh, God, Melissa McCarthy got that bag.
If Illumination does because I heard it was with Illumination. If Illumination does
Zelda,
make a Legend of Zelda movie,
would it be them? They'd go back.
I actually would rather Sony.
How did Mario do?
Animation, I'd rather Sony somehow do it. And I know that would never
Sony
happen
do
because
it.
they have PlayStation.
Wait, you mean DreamWorks?
No, he means Sony Animation.
They
Sorry.
Spider-Verse.
Oh,
and they seem to
make Spider-Verse, so they've been a little more experimental.
Experimental.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be afraid to make Link quiet the whole time.
Because did the Mario movie do super well in box office? Do we know?
Yeah, it's made like $1 billion, I think, worldwide.
I think it's one of the top animated movies of all time now.
Right.
And I think it is. I think it might be the highest grosser of the year so far. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, or if not one of them.
They might, but I hope not. I hope they do go.
Well, I think for sure we're going to see another Mario movie.
We'll see. Yeah. I haven't.
Let's go.
Get the babies in there. Get more Yoshi. Probably.
It is. It's squarely aimed at kids. No one's asking for it to be great.
sorry. I got a little offended there.
It's just I'm afraid that they're gonna think like, oh, it works with Marvel to make all of these adaptations, comedy, action movies, and it's not gonna work with every game. You can even if a game like God of War it wouldn't work with, Assassin's Creed it wouldn't work with. I mean, they tried that already with Assassin's Creed and Prince of Persia. You have to take those more seriously. They have to be more like Bourne Ultimatum type movies. But people just the silly nerds will come out. Who cares about these movies? So I know I'm a nerd, one of those nerds who cares too much. But it's just like, if I'm gonna be seeing these adapted, and I've always wanted to see shit like this. This has been like my dream since I was a kid. For animating video games to be cool enough to be in the mainstream theaters and get these adaptations. But you just have to get nerds that give a fuck about it. Just don't get fucking what was that guy's name? Fucking M. Night Shyamalan, just because he's a good director and obviously didn't even crack open one episode of Avatar when he directed that.
We'll get to that in a sec. Right. Yeah, because that'll be the next thing to bring up. Because you should look up those photos. So, but what I was going to say with Zelda is, Zelda can be very goofy and silly if you're adapting something like that, but it's not known for quips. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. No.
Live action Avatar.
In fact, the only time there's been quips.
Up there in the corner. See there? Those are everyone
CGI
that we've seen so far. So here's the deal.
Okay, I'll say
everyone knows. Here's the thing. Avatar. When I talked about adapting, because the movie made this mistake. I think we know the world of Last Airbender is explicitly basically Asia. It's fantasy Asia. You know.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is
The Fire Nation is the China. Sorry, China. But here we go. Here's some hard truth for you. You're depicted in this show.
So here's the thing I've read. So the way they kind of have it structured, it's kind of like, obviously the airbenders look like Buddhist monks, and the airbender philosophy is a lot like Buddhism. They're vegetarians and all that. The Earth Kingdom, though, the way the royals look and all that looks like China. They look like China.
It's Taiwan or something like. We had a teacher actually in high school that. Tibet. Thank you.
Thinking of. Yeah. So Air Nation is like Tibet. Greater China is like the Earth Kingdom. Japan is like the Fire Nation because they're on volcanic islands. And if you look at their armor and stuff, it's more like Japanese shogun type stuff.
It is like samurai.
Yes, and of course, Inuit are the water tribes.
Yeah.
They're like Siberians. Well, Eskimo. Siberian, Native American. Yeah, I think the guy playing Sokka is